everybody. And we definitely...
We are starting, and Myron, Myron has acknowledgments as well to make right now.
You know, there's these don't seem to be...
Yeah, they're not very...
Yeah, there's
Check.
there you go. There's many people behind the scenes, but you guys see when you had, when I first got there was Sacred Stones, and as a camp I first went to was Sacred Stones, so I want to honor LADONNA and all our and given us a reason to look to our elders for guidance. And it's not easy in what our elders and the decisions they've had to do and they've had to make, and many of the leaders that were there and the ones in solidarity. And those things that are still going on right now today. There's so much footage in there that we haven't put in there because of incriminating. They're taking the footage, as you've seen, was prolific. And there's so much more. That was only about maybe 4% of what really needs to be seen by everybody that's there, that will get to be seen. But as we got 800 plus water protectors that are still going to court, we have to protect them.
Yeah.
And also our sister Candy, where's she at over there?
Woo!
Yeah. Candy's been there, single mom, working hard, and making sure that everything's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Single mom, her companion, I'm sorry, Candy, her companion's right there. I always see her and little baby there. And thank you for all your hard work. And you know, that can't be easy as you got your family with you and your little baby with you. Thank you guys. And many people behind the scenes, there's so many people you don't even know that just helped, contributed, came by, said thank you, text, whatever they could do, opened their homes, cooked a meal, brought down $5, $10 gas card, brought down gloves, hand warmers, and if you guys have been in North Dakota in the freezing winter, hand warmers go a long way.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
I don't know how we're supposed to start this. Do we just take questions, or we have to make some statements? Do we have time for that? And we have a performance tonight too, don't we? Isn't that right? All right.
Performing. I wonder
So looks like he's going to do something for us too. I didn't read the memo clearly. Why don't we have a short statement from everybody? That's what I was going to say.
Well, like, you know, in the dreams and the visions of our people, you know, began from the time of change and colonization. And as you see in the film and the narration of the stories behind it and the history of our people, how these things, how the visions of how our ancestors sought through the spiritual to protect our people, was how Grandpa Sitting Bull visioned. He had a vision to save the people. And when he had this vision, he sent out warriors to gather different nations to come together. And this is when the Battle of the Little Bighorn came. So they stopped them at a certain point, because if they didn't stop them, maybe I wouldn't be here today. But it was because of that vision that he fulfilled and made it realized. Hence this vision of Standing Rock. We have envisioned victory. And we have sent out our warriors to gather the nations to come together. To come together to stop this war against our Mother Earth. This war against our Mini Wichoni. This war for our future generations. This war for all of life. You see, when we start to point fingers and separate ourselves, then we stand on one side or the other. But it is the vision of our ancestors and our people that has survived and created these resistance, it is because of the power of the spiritual and the prayer that they fulfilled to make happen. And today, I'm here because of those visions, because of the visions of our ancestors. So today, we are all here because of the visions of Standing Rock. And now, we are the echoes, we are the pebbles of those visions. And we must stand together in solidarity to fight for the future of our next generation yet to come. Hechiduro, Medako, Oyasi.
First, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking time to come out and hear the message that was given to you tonight. I'd like to also thank Josh Fox for coming to Standing Rock and making that sacrifice, also putting himself on the front line in harm's way, and getting the word out to the masses. On April 1st, 2016, there was a small group of people that went to the Sacred Stone Camp and started a fire and made a prayer. I'd like to acknowledge those first water protectors that went to Sacred Stone Camp and started this movement, starting with LADONNA, Joy Braun, Weaka Eagleman, and the rest of the family there at Sacred Stone, because without them, none of us would be here, and this film wouldn't be possible, and everything that happened at Standing Rock started with that first spark, that first fire, and that first prayer. On August the 8th, I was asked by Joy Braun to come to Sacred Stone, and there was a small encampment there. They were all united as a family, strong. That was what this movement was built off of, was that family, that circle, that unity. And throughout the actions, from day one to the last day, that was our strength, was our unity. That was the power, the prayer was the power. And that's what moved this entire global awakening, was the power of unity and prayer. It only took a few people to start that. It only took one person to take that initial movement, to make that initial prayer, to decide to take that on themselves. And then collectively, through individual effort, we made a change, and we changed the world at Standing Rock. That first fire that was lit, now the sparks have flown all over the world and all over the globe, and new fires are kindling, and people are awakening, and people are standing up, not only for the rights of Mother Earth, the rights of nature, but the rights of humanity. The right to have clean air, the right to have clean water, the right to have uncontaminated land to feed our children, for the future generations of our people. I think that our children deserve it. I think that my grandchildren deserve a chance to live, that they deserve a chance to walk in a world that's uncontaminated the way that our grandfathers and our ancestors before us lived. I'm proud that I got to take part. I was honored many times throughout the movement at Standing Rock, and I'm honored to be here today with each and every one of you to be a part of this collective movement to change the world. When you go home, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue the way that you live today? Are you gonna continue to pollute our mother? Or are we gonna change and make that change first in our homes, in our communities, and spread outward throughout the rest of the world and teach others how to live in harmony and in balance with the original teachers of the Creator? So I challenge each one of you to do that, to make that change first in yourselves and in your homes, and to educate and teach others how to become aware and awakened. So once again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, and it's an honor to be here. We blow.
Thank you for everyone for being here. You know, you never know really quite what film you have until you watch it with an audience. And you know, every part of making this film, I've made a lot of documentaries now, but this one was really different. And every part of it was a really humbling experience. Being there at Standing Rock and witnessing the sacrifices and the risks people were taking, standing up for what they believed in, protecting water for everybody. And sitting here in this audience tonight and watching this film with you guys, I realized that, you know, by being in, you know, at Standing Rock and also being part of this film, I think we're part of something in some small way, of something historic, you know. And it was just a real honor to be part of that, to be part of shedding the spotlight on this amazing moment where all these peoples came together on that highway in North Dakota for this purpose. You know, I don't want to say too much more. I'm here to listen to you guys, and I'm honored to be here. I did want to say one thing though, because Jason Wood, my editor, was being very shy or something. You're out there somewhere, Jason, but please stand up. Jason was responsible for that beautiful editing in part 2, Backwater Bridge, and he's out there. There he is. And thank you, Jason. Beautiful. That's all I have to say. I hope we have time to answer some of your questions. Josh, do you want to say anything before you?
All right. Yeah. Could you come here for a second? I need you guys to hop real fast. I'm going to give my time right here to LaDonna to please share her words.
Other than tell everybody to continue to stand. We are not backing down. We have not backed down. The water protectors are still working very hard on Standing Rock and other places. And at this point, in this time, there is no oil in that pipeline. And for me, in this point, in this time, there is still hope, there is still prayer. And I ask everybody to continue to join us in prayer. And I thank each and every one of you up there for doing this. Because I know that none of it is any individual. It is everybody. And it is those young people who first stood up. It's those young people and their voices that we now must listen to. We've only just begun to continue to change the world.
Mark Whitepool, Ate Mark Whitepool at Jaffe, Patricia and Loretto Whitepool, Jaffe, Ilma Sloha, Amataha, Oklahoma, El Wati. My name is Clarice Whitepool first want to thank everybody for coming, for their support, for the prayers, for any form of support that has been given. It's been a true honor to have witnessed what has transpired, and we've been through a lot, and the negative has been truly negative, but the positives and everything that I've seen and witnessed and been a part of outshines, the positive outshines it by far, truly eclipses the negative of what has happened. And I like to thank everybody for that first and foremost, and anybody that has supported us and that continues to support us and who acts in any way. Thank you, truly. This isn't I have never asked for any sort of recognition, any sort of notoriety, any part of me that anybody sees as my positives. I'd like to acknowledge my father and my grandmother for teaching me to walk the way I do, and I'd like to thank them because it's them who's sitting here today. It's them who taught me and walked with me from beyond the spirit world, and I'd like to acknowledge them, that it's them that stood on those front lines for my children. It's their teachings and their strength that guided me there, and I'd like to acknowledge them first and foremost. And every indigenous nation that had come together is amazing to have been a part of that. And I'd also like to acknowledge the nations that, had they not been wiped off the earth, would have been standing there with us, and I'd like to acknowledge them also. I'd like to remind people of our youth and their amazing spirit that brought us together. And thank them for their heart and their guidance.
Right up with all three microphones. You know, we made to continue the fight, to make sure that what happened at Standing Rock goes forward and continues. When people ask you, you know, can peace win? It's the only thing that wins. This is peace in action. You watch it happening in front of you. And it is the most remarkable, beautiful thing that I have ever witnessed, really. We're at a moment right now where we have a madman dropping bombs on other countries in our names. People we will never know from cultures that we don't understand. We have oil companies ravaging this land, 300 pipelines, 300 frac gas power plants, hundreds of thousands of miles of pipelines, millions of new fracking wells that are proposed. Either we tank the planet, we overthrow the indigenous people of this world, and we overthrow everyone and our environment. Either we go forward with that insane plan, or we do something about it and stop it. In New York State, we know what that's like. We banned fracking. We did that because hundreds of thousands of people rose up. Yeah, but you know what? That fight is over. There are a lot more coming. There are pipelines ravaging all throughout this state and power plants from frack gas that will put this city underwater because of the way they will warm the earth and the sea level will rise. This is one of the most vulnerable frontline communities in the world, New York City. Likewise, Miami, New Orleans, all of the Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. Our entire civilization is in the balance. No question about that. Either we learn how to do this and do it a lot and do it till we win, or there won't be a New York City to be in, and there won't be a planet to inhabit, and there won't be a civilization. That is just the bottom line right now. We're at a turning point. We don't have democracy in America. We don't have any of the things that were true. I mean, you guys have had no democracy in America for 500 years. The truth of the matter is, we're at a turning point. We need to fight back, and we need to do it peacefully. We need to do it with dignity. We need to do it with prayer. This film and these people show the way. That's what I believe. So that's why I think it's important. And we have to take this not just as a movie, right, but as a strategy, as an operational plan.
Woo! Thank you, John.
I get asked this question quite a few times online is, well, how come indigenous people know what's going on with the earth? Well, one way is we're connected to our food source and our traditional harvesting areas. And so when we witness that change, it changes us. Our ceremonies are around that. Our morning prayers, our honorings, our sacred lands. That's why. So when something such as simple as even willows for my tribe stop growing in areas, our babies are in the baskets of willows. When it comes to the tubapi, which is the pine nuts, the pine nut trees, and all of a sudden there's no more pine nut trees, we see something going on. Or when it's with the tosa, the medicine, the bitter root, we know something's going on. Or the water continues to change, or like in the Walker Paiute tribe where we lost all of our food source. We're called the Galactica, trout eaters. There's no longer any trout in our lake, and I never would have thought I would have witnessed that in my lifetime. That's how we know. We're connected to our food source. And when we become connected, we know when the environment changes, because we change. Our DNA changes, our way of life changes. And when you guys become Walmart as Walmart eaters, you'll know when your life changes. Gallstones, heart attacks, all those things happen. So that's why we know. And the tribes that get disconnected from their culture and to fight for it, they're fighting to exist because they know their existence is going to change. And I answer that question quite a bit of times, and it's really just educating and empowering that you all are indigenous from somewhere. Don't say New York, California, Kentucky, New Jersey, but you're indigenous from somewhere. And you need to find out where you're from so you can reconnect and you can understand why we are fighting. And you'll get it. You'll really get it. Reconnect. Find a way to go home. Find a way to go across and reconnect your spirit with back home. And you'll see your people are fighting over there. They're fighting to protect, to survive. And take that with you. Take that with you and empower yourself, empower your children. And then when you come back here, you'll be like, wow, I get why the indigenous people here are protecting 70% of the natural resources with only 2.5% left in this country. It's pretty staggering numbers when you figure that out. Now multiply that worldwide. The indigenous people around the world are protecting 80% of the natural resources, but still the same amount of numbers, percentage worldwide. And as they were coming in and educating us from around the world of their struggles, their fights, I learned of one that was really stuck out from our non-native relatives on the coast was straws. Straws were really bad for the environment because they're a one-time use. And I was like, I just used a straw. You know, every time I pick up a straw, I'm now conscious about it. So once we educate ourselves with just that simple little thing of straws, it really doesn't seem like a big deal, but try not using a straw. The other one is we got a friend, Coda, he doesn't use plastic anymore. And I have a hard time not using plastic. We become really dependent on these things. And you know, some of the, we kind of giggle around when it comes to hippies, but I kind of felt shamed out when we go eat and Grandma's kitchen, when the hippies would bring out all his, he'd have wood silverware, wood bowl, and then use that. And I was thinking, wow, I'm seeing solutions here. We got solutions all the way around us to do better things. And in -40, you guys wondering how we use the toilet? Well, we had compost toilets. And they didn't stink, you know? So that was really good too.
No, we hung out there.
Was it hard? Yeah. It was tough. But these were solutions, and you got to witness in these camps, and especially in the camps that started with sustainability with the community as contributing to that state of sustainability in solar and in wind and in energy in the schools. There was a school built at a straw bale hay down there, run off of wind power. I had solar that we were doing media with, so we were role modeling the change. And that's what we have to do, is role model the change. And these movements are really tough. I gotta say, you know, at the end, we have to even get stronger as we start to divide. And we gotta figure out that, okay, I'm gonna role model what is healthy to stay around healthy people. I wanna be around healthy people. And if you start hearing that unhealthiness, then you gotta get away from them, because misery loves company. And what I learned at Standing Rock, what I learned over at all the camps, from Rosebud, Sacred Stones, Osheti, Seventh Generation, Cheyenne River, is that I started to stay around the leaders that I felt were role modeling the teachings. They weren't just talking about it. A lot of them did not talk about it. They just role modeled the teachings. And I thought, wow, how beautiful is that? And that's what it must have felt like way back in the day, that was brought back forward, that we got to share with our relatives in -40-degree weather. No wonder why these treaties were made. These promises were made since Lewis and Clark that weren't honored later on, because this generation didn't live that way. They don't understand why they had to make, why they made those agreements together, is because they were based off of surviving together, taking care of one another. Maybe they were in life and death situations and they took care of each other that way. That's why these agreements were made and kept. And for this generation, as I'm asking you, is to hold yourself accountable, to hold this government accountable, to honor the forefathers' promises to the indigenous people.
I just want to say, thank you. You brought up hippies. I just want to acknowledge my mom. Hi, Mom. Can you give a wave? Thanks, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
Operational values and love. Should we take some questions, or do you want to add one more thing first?
I'm a little uncomfortable sitting down and talking. I'm used to standing up, so I'm gonna stand up. And I just wanted to bring up something real quick. Many years ago, I started working up in Canada with the Native Youth Movement on a pipeline that was starting up there called the Keystone XL pipeline. And sounds like many of you know about that pipeline. Bringing dirty tar sands oil across the United States to go to Houston to a free trade zone to be shipped out and not taxed. And we all know that there's promises of thousands of jobs. It will create a few thousand temporary jobs, but it creates 38 permanent jobs for the United States. That oil will go to the free trade zone and be shipped to another country, and the United States will not profit off of it. I was up there maybe 15 years ago at the beginning, and started doing community organizing from the north to the south on the Keystone XL. Many communities that were in the path started organizing as well. I was working in Nebraska with a farmer named Art Tanderup, and the pipeline was going to cross his farm. His farm also was on the Ponca Trail of Tears. My people are originally from the Missouri River, the same river we were trying to protect and still are trying to protect in Standing Rock. That river sustained life for my people for thousands of generations, and that's why I felt my sense of duty to go back and to stand up for that water. The Keystone XL pipeline brought a lot of unlikely alliances together. I got asked to be a part of the Cowboy and Indian Alliance, the CIA. Something that I never thought that I would be a part of. And I kind of had a hard time, I struggled with it. And I grew up on a reservation, and I'm half white and I'm half Ponca. But I grew up on a reservation, and it's hard growing up on a reservation and trying to walk in both worlds. No matter where you are from, on the other side of the fence or inside of the reservation boundaries, no matter which side you go to, you're seen as an outsider. So it's kind of hard to grow up that way, and I struggled with it because I was raised traditionally, and I was raised by my grandmother and by my mother. And I struggled with being a part of the Cowboy and Indian Alliance, and I sat with my mom and I talked about it. I said, you know, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I can do this. And she explained to me, and this is something that I like to share with people because I think it brings us together. She explained to me that we as indigenous people have our roots firmly planted in Mother Earth, that we know who we are, we know where we come from, and we know where we stand. And that when the first immigrants came here and settled this land, all they saw was resource. That's what they saw when they came to this land, the resources. The trees, the gold, the coal, the oil, all the resources that they could extract and make money, and greed moved them forward across our land. And they stole it. Piece by piece, they stole the land. Piece by piece, they stole the resources. And their greed moved them forward. But over the generations, they've buried their grandmothers and they've buried their grandfathers in this land. They've buried their mothers and their fathers in this land. They've buried their children in this land. And now, you have buried your grandmothers and your grandfathers in this land, your mothers and your fathers in this land. And you have a connection to this land the same way that we have a connection to this land. Your ancestors are buried here. Our ancestors are buried here. We care for this land. We care for our loved ones, the graves of our mothers and fathers, the graves of our grandmothers and grandfathers, and some of us, our children. So that's the common ground that we have. It's the ground that we stand on. The common ground that each one of us shares is the earth beneath our feet. And that's what we have to do to find the unity to protect what we all care and love, Mother Earth. So I just wanted to share that story with each one of you and say that we're all connected in this circle of life. And that common ground is what's going to keep us connected, and our unity will grow and our strength will grow and we will prevail.
I think we need more water protectors on the front lines. I don't think you win without the front lines. You know, when I saw that shot where you see those people in the water there and then they get maced and they get sprayed, I felt like I was standing watching the salt mine protest of Gandhi. And I felt the United States government has lost all legitimacy today. The truth of the matter is, we can do a lot of things like donate online. We can do a lot of things like go to big marches, you know what I mean? But our democracy and our rights and the rights of nature live and die off those people. That group of 20 people here. You know what I'm saying? Where the whole rest of the audience is cops. That's the bravery that defends everything that we've ever had. You know, Susan B. Anthony got beaten when she went to vote. And Martin Luther King was arrested something like 40 times. This is what gives us our democracy, this, if we have any shred of it left. What do we need more of? That. And if you're not going to do that, you better be the medic that's repairing their broken head, or their lawyer, Ron Kuby, that's going to get them out of jail, right? Or the person cooking in the camp to give them the hot meal when they're done, because that's what we need more of, to be honest. We need more of that, and we need more people to host them, like LaDonna, but we need that bravery. You know, like I said, we're at a turning point. Obama is windsurfing in the Virgin Islands with Richard Branson, and he ain't coming back. And those days aren't coming back either. We either go headlong into authoritarianism and fascism, or we rise up and defend our democracy. Those are the only two choices. So we need those people, these people, and a lot more.
Intellectual warriors, keyboard warriors, that's what we need more of. So when you guys see something really quick, really fast, you know, when you saw I was in the police station, I was able to ask the online keyboard warriors right there at that moment. It took like 20 seconds which plane that was, and they typed it up real fast and sent it to me. So you guys are doing a lot of work and, you know, sharing what you do know, and don't ever feel like you're hopeless and you can't do enough, because that's what people were feeling, that they couldn't do enough. But the keyboard warriors were holding Morgan County accountable. They were holding, you know, as much as they could. They were flooding the calls of the White House, calling their congressmen, doing everything they can to think of what we weren't thinking about. We couldn't think of it all. You know, we were kind of, everything was right in front of us, but you guys did a lot. And a lot of it rested on the water protector's shoulders there, because we were there, but we needed you to be those keyboard warriors. And that there's so much you could do. The law was changing, the legislature was changing, everything when we had to focus on. I learned so much about how fraud was happening. They had to incite a riot in order to justify their funding. DAPL had to list a riot in order to get their insurance for what was going on. So the pressure was on Morgan County, which was in a video. It was in a video where the pressure's on, the pressure's on. That's what the cop was saying. Wow, it was like, we documented this right in front of us. There's another one where the officer's laughing. You know how many times we document officers laughing? Taking selfies, yeah, it was unreal. Officers crying. Many officers cried. When and you know, that I could see that there was there is a human, that there is a person behind that, for whatever reason there was. That's why I took every opportunity to try and connect and educate every one of them I could about indigenous issues. After I found out later on, you know, all the different agencies were following me, FBI, Homeland Security, DAPL, Morgan County, then I was like, wow, I got the audience.
Can we ask any members of law enforcement who are here tonight to acknowledge and stand up and say that you are actually law enforcement? You are required to.
They're required to lie, I can tell you that.
That's something that they used to do at ACT UP meetings when I was 17, ACT UP. Ask the police to please stand up. They never would. We know you're here. We know you got a special arrangement with Michael Bloomberg to get tickets. Let's take a few more questions.
Yeah, the thing is, you got the opportunity, if they are there, you can pray for them and educate them and be compassionate for them.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Could you say something about the work you're doing, your continuing work around mental health and PTSD directly from the protest? And the group that is benefiting from the film?
Testing.
The question was, can we talk about what groups we're trying to support with the film, and also specifically about mental health and PTSD for water protectors, which Doug is especially.
I have an organization called Lakota Way Healing Center, and I've been doing this kind of work for the last 10 years. And so I work with PTSD veterans, suicide prevention, addictions, homelessness, and our Spirit Horse Nation is environmental. So how we approach PTSD is through our spiritual ways, through our philosophy. We don't use the Western philosophy, we use the natural philosophy of our people, and we work with them and how to, because I came back with PTSD from combat, and it was our ways that saved my life to be where I'm at today. And so that's what we do, and that's how I do it. And so we're working towards getting it out there and getting on the front lines of people that have PTSD, that are suffering from PTSD, our youth, our people, and hopefully we can organize something so where we can teach, have the community or have groups specialize them and their communities to help these youth to do this kind of work for them. So the movement is on, and so this film is we're awakening everything. So we're trying to do that right now, and so yeah, that's the kind of work I do and specialize in it.
Truth is, we all have PTSD. It's really, really hard to watch this movie. And so we're just us being together.
Just us being together helps enormously. You know, all the people who were involved in this movie have never been in the same room, but this many people involved in this movie have never been in the same room. Just the fact that we're together helps so much. So we need to come together and bring some of that youth council back together and the water protectors back together and heal communally. And we're doing that. At awakethefilm.org, you can find out about the groups that we're supporting. 100% of the proceeds go to an Indigenous Media Fund. We want to sponsor more Indigenous media, more youth, especially. We have a Pipeline Fighters Fund that's going to these protest camps and bringing events and reporting to those camps. And also we're supporting Lakota Way Healing Center and the Fresh It Collective at our website, so awakethefilm.org. Check that out. We have a house party guide, an action guide that gives a 5-point plan and a lot of different places where you can direct your attention and focus. I was told by staff that we're out of time, but we do want to get into performance.
Yeah.
The rapper is with us here tonight, so we're setting this up to be our closing event. You don't have to, also, remember Red Fawn real faithfully.
Yeah.
We can be the back. Can we be your back?
I'm his biggest fan. Oh my gosh. I'm like totally watching.
Don't go anywhere. This is they're getting set up here for a second. I will say one more thing. That, you know, here in New York State, the fight against fracking continues when we fight against the AIM pipeline and the Pilgrim pipeline and the frack gas power plants that are getting set up all across this state. If we don't build renewable energy and build it fast, we're going to be relitigating that entire fracking ban whenever the next governor comes in. That is the truth. You have to get very, very proactive about renewable energy. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Very good.
Thank you, John.
Everybody stand up. Give yourselves a round of applause. We're going to perform this song real quick and then we're done. But one thing, can you guys please look to someone to your left or your right and give them a hug?
Yeah.
Because we're all here together.
Yeah.
And when we come together, that's what makes everything powerful, like all these guys were saying.
More compassion.
If you're white, find someone with dark skin and hug them.
Anyone?
No, but seriously, I love you guys, and I'm really grateful to be here. Everyone, make some noise for everybody, for Josh, for all the hard work, for all behind the scenes, Tribeca. Love you guys. All right, we're gonna perform the song. The song's called Black Snakes.
I'm filming. Sorry. Yeah.
Get some more volume on that one.
I think it's. Woo!
Can you guys hear me out there?
Yeah.
A little more volume on the song. Oops, not that one. No, this is beautiful. All of us coming together like this, it's extremely beautiful. And I love you all. I love the feeling that I had at camp.
I'm going up to the front.
It was hard watching that video. But I'm happy to be there.
The world comes in 4 corners, 4 directions, 4 colors. And death rides on 4 horsemen, a black snake with some black tanks. How much money do these companies need to make? They can track your product, but they wanna save a buck. Already extracting billions, when is enough? I used to be in the oil fields, getting paid, but I quit, cause oil water I can drink. Look down and see Kamimi Lada in the mud. I looked up and told myself that enough's enough. Money does not own my soul, living comfortable. It's not in my plans, my hands in the sand. Some things were more than gold. Some things that can't be sold. Some things can't be replaced. She is your mother, the fresh water is her base. Make some noise for yourselves, you guys. Fresh water is her base. Listen there, everybody. What is going on? Have we all lost our minds? Every human needs clean water to survive.
Make some noise for Myron Dewey.
Listen there for all the water protectors. Love is the strongest, this path is the hardest. But if we were strong enough to do it, we wouldn't see it. Your grace would not be needed, this movement's very needed. Indigenous wisdom unheeded and sacred things depleted. I'm Mexicano, Malajota, and I'm white too. I'm mixed with everyone, so part of me's just like you. Every group of human beings shares the same stars. And if the earth is not your mother, are you from Mars?
Are you from Mars? No, you're from Earth.
We all come from the same source, the same creator. We all come from the same universe and we're a part of the same family. We need each other now more than ever, you guys.
It's 1492. 500 years and counting. Surviving the genocide they call colonizing my eternal island. What is the fuss of you? Continued destruction, nothing new. Living the system, taking our children, shitting their guns, still nothing's true. I had that money in front of me, but I left it. Cause oil money's dirty if my mother gets disrespected. We're disconnected, these times are hectic and feeling heavy. But still we love all living beings and suffer for the many. We are a peaceful people, that's why we walk with prayer. And if that wasn't true, we wouldn't be standing here. We're peaceful people. We walk with prayer, Turtle Island, have no fear. Despite what they show in the media, we're proud people, hold your ground. Change is coming now.
Anyways, I love all you guys. One of the things I was told before I came here, I went to a sweat, and one of the things the medicine man said to me personally is he said, the sooner you find your balance and take care of the universe inside of you, the sooner everything you want is going to come true. And that was a reminder to me and to all of us. He always says, don't give away your power. You have power, you have gifts, you have a purpose, and only you know what that is. I don't know what it is. But it's there. Don't give away your power. Take care of the universe inside you so that we can be strong together. And that's the only way it's going to work, all of us together. Thank you guys. I love you all. Thank you everybody here.
Thank all our Digital Smoke Signals team out there, William and all them guys, William Coda, William Hawk, all the relatives, the Four Directions, our families.
Thank you.
A little shout out.
Hey, it's good to see you guys, all of you, and all the hearts. Look at all those hearts.
My love. Many blessings, relatives. This concludes our evening tonight.
Thank you. That was a great film. It was really beautiful.
That was a great end.